Sonic fans literally can't agree on anything, man, except one thing. Sonic music is amazing. And if you love amazing Sonic music, you better be subscribed to my boy Hotline Sawani. I mean, this man has been serving up the coldest Sonic the Hedgehog remixes. Listen to this, man. Those songs you just heard are from his latest Sonic album, Sonic X Shadow Generations Collide, where you can find remixes of a bunch of different Sonic the Hedgehog songs, from Generations to Shadow 2005 to Sonic R to 06, not to mention the GOAT as well. And it's not just him, he's collaborated with so many different talented artists on this project. The variety of games, remixes, and different artists is bound to intrigue you. And of course you can check it out for free using the link in the description below. It's available on all streaming platforms. And speaking of things to check out, Hotline Sawani is doing a giveaway for Sonic X Shadow Generations Japanese Collector's Edition. To enter the giveaway, all you have to do is click the link in the description below and follow the instructions, and the winners will be announced on the 1st of February 2025. So you already know what to do. You got over 2 hours worth of Sonic remixes to check out right now for free, and of course check out Hotline Sawani's YouTube channel for even more Sonic remixes. Alright, so we finally saw Sonic Movie 3. I say finally because you know how it is. Regional release dates, everyone else saw it, so expect spoilers here, obviously. I'm not gonna sugarcoat too much shit. If you see timestamps and there's like a non-spoiler section, then I guess you could watch that section, but I don't know if I'll have those, so we'll see how it goes. Now let's keep it simple, because I know people want to hear this part, right? How do I feel about the movie? Was it a good movie? Was it a bad movie? Was it a mid movie? Well, there wasn't two of those things. It was a good movie. Obviously, I don't think it was a perfect movie, but it was a Sonic movie, so I wasn't expecting perfection. But it was a good movie, right? Shadow did his thing. Team Sonic, obviously, as a fan of heroes, I love seeing Team Sonic. It's an SA2 movie in a sense. Not obviously fully an SA2 movie, because obviously they had to change certain things around because there was no Amy, obviously. But it was mostly an SA2 movie, and they had plenty of references from Chow to like jumping out the helicopter. There was quite a few references. Obviously, Live and Learn was there. And there were a few obscure references too that I'm surprised made it in there. Like, I could have sworn I saw Night of the Werehog for a few seconds. Maybe I was just overlooking into it, but I saw the screen, I was like, that has got to be Night of the Werehog. I should go and rewatch that and confirm. They had quite a few references in there. They even had Michael Jackson in there, technically. They kind of used some Japanese cover of the song, but there was a Jackson 5 song in there, so they were definitely referencing a bunch of things in the movie. I don't know if the Shadow watching that Latina like soap opera thing was actually supposed to be a reference to Shadow Loves Latina. I don't know if it was that, but it felt like it was that. I don't know. The internet is already claiming it was that, but I don't know. The action scenes were really great. You know, Sonic vs. Shadow. A lot of the trailers showed like the very early part of the movie. I felt like when I was in the first part, it was just like seeing things I had already seen in the trailers. So they definitely shielded a lot of the later movie, which is a good thing, I guess, because you don't want to spoil too much of the movie. They kind of made it seem in certain trailers like Tom was gonna die, and I guess that did play a role here, but obviously he didn't actually die because he's Donut Lord. They're not gonna kill him off, right? But nonetheless, there was great action scenes, there was great plot points, there was a lot of things you'd expect from a Sonic movie. That being said though, we have to talk about it. I know people are gonna get upset at me because I know new thing must be glazed, but I feel like this trilogy has followed in the footsteps of many a great trilogy in the past, and that is a trilogy where the second movie is the best one. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say it. Just like the Spider-Man trilogy, just like the Captain America trilogy, just like, I almost said Iron Man for a second. I'm joking, not Iron Man. But a lot of great trilogies, the second movie was the best one, okay? And I don't take that lightly, okay? When I reviewed the first movie, I believe I gave it either a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10. And I gave the second movie a 7.5, so that's a 1 to 1.5 bump up, okay? I think this movie I'd probably give a 7. So it's still within that 7 tier, but not quite the highs of movie 2. Now I know what you're thinking, how the fuck are you gonna say some shit like that, right? I'll say there's two things that I'll definitely put over movie 2 that movie 3 did. One of them is the action. The action scenes were better in movie 3. There was Super Sonic, Super Shadow. Just the whole action scenes were just crazy here. And Sonic running through London. Like, Sonic is Sonic. You know, he does his thing. Ben Schwartz is doing an amazing job of Sonic, for the record. A few corny jokes, but like overall, I think doing a great job. The characters all were great. Knuckles is continuing to be a highlight, honestly. If it wasn't for the third act, I would argue that Knuckles is the best character in the movie. But Shadow did come through in the third act. Before the third act, he was alright in terms of characterization, not action. I mean, the flashback stuff with Maria was great, amazing. That was great stuff. But in terms of the present day stuff, until that third act when Tom died and then Sonic started to get the vengeance shit, until that point, he was kind of okay. When it got to that point, then Shadow started to, like, when he started to point out Sonic's hypocrisy, like, you're mad at me for seeking revenge, but you're doing exactly the same thing, like, that's when Shadow started to peak as a character, right? I'm a very big fan of, like, characterization and, like, deep plots and shit like that, and I feel like here, as I said, the action here was better, and the human stuff was better. Like, usually when I say the human stuff, I usually don't include Eggman because he's still a Sonic character, but in general, I'd say the human stuff in movie 3 was better than movie 2, and the action in movie 3 was better than movie 2. But I think the overarching, like, arcing plot and, like, design of the whole movie, I think movie 2 was just better. It was structured better. I think Knuckles going from rival to friend was executed better than Shadow going from rival to friend. I just feel like Knuckles is just so strong in this universe, and Knuckles is not even my favorite Sonic character. Usually I'd put Shadow over Knuckles, but in this universe, Knuckles has consistently been a highlight. Like, Knuckles had some of the greatest lines in this film, right? And, like, even when they were talking about smashing the glass, even Knuckles had me going, like, oh my god, like, and even, like, Agent Stone, like, and Agent Stone, I've always liked Agent Stone. He's probably the best new human character, because Robotnik is a Sonic character, let's be real. And even the little scene when Tails and Stone were talking, and Tails was talking about, like, me and Sonic are best friends, and Agent Stone was like, oh yeah, me and Robotnik, yeah, like, we're like that, and then he got tossed to the side when he tried to help Robotnik from Gerald and whatnot, which, for the record, why did Gerald still look old 50 years ago? Like, I know they tried to pass off that he was 110 years old, but, like, who are you fooling, okay? Why was he still old in the flashback? I know he was technically like that in SA2, but, like, does this man not age? Like, is the Shadow fur keeping him young? I don't know. Is he a vampire? I surprisingly got, like, emotional when Robotnik, after, like, stopping Gerald, went and did that live stream speech to Agent Stone. I was surprisingly emotional. I was like, man, let me can be feel things for these random humans. Like, I wasn't supposed to feel things for the characters that are not the Sonic characters, but nonetheless, I was feeling them. And even the scene where Tom fake died and Shadow was, like, feeling that Maria flashback, and he was like, did I do something wrong? And then Sonic shows up. Like, there were some great emotional moments in this movie. I still think, again, plot-wise, movie 2 was a little bit stronger in the story department. It's kind of like Infinity War versus Endgame, the hugely debated topic. Infinity War really was strong on action, but Endgame was just stronger on story. And I feel like movie 2 had slightly better story, maybe slightly weaker action, and then movie 3 had slightly better action, slightly weaker story, but still both of them had good of both of the things. But overall, I would side with movie 2. Infinity War was known for the better action scenes, but Endgame was known for the better plot points, and I feel like it's a similar situation here, with movie 3 being more like Infinity War and movie 2 being more like Endgame. Whichever one you prefer depends on what you value more in a movie, so it's not like objectively one must be better than the other. It's more like what points hit you, effectively. There were great plot points in both movies. I just think movie 2 did it better with the Knuckles and him realizing they didn't have to be evil. And obviously you have that in movie 3 as well. I just feel like it was executed better in movie 2. Just like I feel like the action was executed better in movie 3, which isn't hard to do, I guess, given the bigger budget and the Super Sonic and Super Shadow together, and even the first fight scene with the motorbike. It was so much great action in this third movie. But yeah, that's the comparison for me. And we have to talk about the weakest character, of course, Wade. There was minimal Wade here, which was a good thing. They managed to sneak him in somehow. I can see why they basically gave him that knuckle show. The knuckle show probably happened because they told the actor for Wade, like, listen, you're not going to be in movie 3 that much, so we're just going to, like, give you this show, you can hijack this Knuckles show, and then you get like one scene in movie 3, and that was kind of his consolation prize. And even there, he didn't need to be in the movie, right? I'm glad he was minimal. The human stuff here was definitely better than movie 2, but I'm glad he was minimal, but he didn't have to be there. Let's face it, they were gearing up for a scene. It kind of reminds me of Colors when Sonic was about to fight Tails and they blue balled us. They were gearing up for a scene where Sonic and Knuckles were about to fight for the Monster Emerald, and we're about to get a cool little Sonic and Knuckles fight. And they were just like, Knuckles folds, and then it's like, I've hidden the emerald somewhere crazy, and you have to go through this water, and it's Wade. And of course it's Wade. Of course. They just wanted to put Wade in there, but realistically, we could have had a Sonic and Knuckles fight. Maybe it would have been overkill because we already had movie 2 with the Sonic and Knuckles fights, but even a mini fight would have been cool. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, I think it's a great movie. It did what it needed to do. Just because I don't prefer it over movie 2 doesn't make it a slight on this movie, okay? Plenty of great movie trilogies have had the second movie be the best one. Did I mention the Dark Knight trilogy when I was giving examples before? Add the Dark Knight trilogy to that list. It just happens, okay? I just think movie 2 was a stronger movie. And I'm not like a movie buff or anything like that. Let's face it, I'm not one of those people. I'm someone that I could watch a movie once and just not go back to. I can count probably on my 2 hands the amount of movies that I watched once and I had a burning urge to watch again, right? I can count on my 2 hands. Some people, they be watching a bunch of movies multiple times. I got a handful that I'd want to watch more than once. Movie 2 was one of those movies where I finished watching it and I was like, I want to see that again. Movie 3 didn't give me that. I was like, I got my fill from one watch, but it was still a good movie. That whole gun headquarters section in London with Tom and Maddie, that was some great human stuff, like surprisingly great human stuff when they were changing between the different people and all that. Like, everything in that whole sequence was great. You know, it was surprising. Like, the human stuff was really well done here. It's surprisingly well done here. The whole scene where they were gonna blow up the moon, basically, that whole scene when the audience was watching, I say the audience, the earth was watching, kind of like that CGI cutscene in SA2. That shit was beautiful. Like, the way they put it together, it just, see that on the big screen was just amazing, okay? Like, that was just a really nice scene I wanted to highlight. And of course, we need to talk about the post-credit scenes. There were 2. One of them was sport for me, thank you comment section, because regional release dates, Americans got it first, they can't keep their mouth shut. So yes, it was Amy, multiple Metal Sonics, setting up for hopefully a great 4th movie, which will probably be a mix of CD and Heroes. I mean, we've already got the Team Sonic stuff happening already, so you combine that with like Shadow, you know, Amy, you know, we'll see what happens. No, they're not gonna do all the teams, right? I mean, like, there was that rumored Chaotix thing, so I guess we'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, I think it's looking pretty interesting for that. And then the second post-credit scene was like the Shadow didn't die scene, just in case you were thinking maybe he died. Which, I guess those of us who play the games, we know he doesn't really die because, let's face it, Heroes came off the SA2. But if you're like a casual watching the movies, you probably want some confirmation that they didn't really kill him off, right? Like, they didn't. And that's what Robotnik, they always act like they killed him off and then he shows up again. So, like, even though he's dead this time, is he really dead? I don't know. It's probably like, let's leave it open-ended just in case Jim Carrey doesn't come back and then we have an out, right? He's dead, that's the out. But we'll see what happens with that, okay? I remember when I was watching the end credits, I saw like the polygon like characters, and for a second I thought I saw Classic Shadow, and I was about to be like, oh, I was about to go on a rant like, isn't that Classic Shadow? Like, so you won't put him in the games, but he's in the movie. I was about to go on a rant, but there's some red around his eyes, so technically he's not Classic, but if he had been Classic, there would have been a rant. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. Oh yeah, and if we're comparing movie 2 to movie 3, the credit song was better in movie 2, let's be real. But you already knew that. Let's face it, Kid Cudi smashed that shit. But yeah, I hate to say it, and I mean, I know it sounds weird me saying I hate to say this, because I really do. I do think I was right when it comes to the trailers. I do feel like when I was looking at the movie 3 trailers, I wasn't convinced it was gonna be better than movie 2. And now after watching it, I'm like, yeah, movie 2 was definitely just a stronger movie from start to finish, I believe. Again, the human stuff and the action was stronger in movie 3, but the plot and the structure and everything, and the way Knuckles was the focus, and the way he delivered his role as the rival to becoming the hero, everything was executed really amazingly in movie 2. And movie 3 is still a great movie. I love the Team Sonic stuff. I'm always going to be a fan of Team Sonic stuff. Sonic did his thing character-wise. Tails sounded amazing. Colleen has been killing it, right? Out of the sea of meta-era cast, Colleen is really a shining star. Seriously. But yeah, it just killed it. Ben Schwartz killed it. Jim Carrey playing the two characters killed it. That dance scene was cringe as fuck, but like I did love the dynamic between Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey, you know, the two of them. Asia Stone killed it as well. Jane from Breaking Bad, always love to see her. Like even the commander, like the Maria flashback stuff was great. Maria killed it. Maria killed. And of course, Keanu, man. Keanu does a great Shadow. Great Shadow, okay? Yes, I like Keanu more than, I'm not gonna say. But look, Keanu did a great job as Shadow in terms of the voice work. As much as I think the earlier part of the movie, he wasn't doing too much from a character standpoint, aside from the flashbacks, but yeah, he picked up in the third act. Good movie. Movie 1, 6 to 6.5, probably 6. Movie 2, 7.5. Movie 3, 7. Let's see if the CD/Heroes movie can hit that 8. I don't know. We'll see, okay? But yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of this review. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie. How would you rank it amongst the other two movies? And yeah, I mean, it's looking interesting for this franchise right now. Movie 3 was pretty solid. There's gonna be a movie 4, clearly. I don't know how many they're gonna do. I mean, it's a movie studio. They're gonna keep going as long as it prints money. So we'll see how long it prints money for. But the way it's going to be printing money for a while. They already announced the 4th movie for 2027. So probably going to get the next one before the end of the decade. And then we move on to the 2030s. And yeah, time flies. The movies are going to keep coming out. And hopefully the games and the content onslaught continues. I'm looking forward to that, especially the Potential Heroes remake. Now that they got Amy and Metal Sonic, they're going to have to. They're going to have that movie Amy DLC in the game. Well, Metal Sonic's already in Heroes, so I mean, it was kind of the original Metal Sonic design. I wasn't Neo Metal Sonic, so we don't know if they're gonna go Heroes or they're gonna stick to CD. Hopefully not, let's be real. But like, Heroes is gonna be like the strong suit, because Neo Metal Sonic to Metal Overlord, that's just gonna be crazy, okay? That's gonna be crazy, so we need to stay tuned for that. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell because they're coming soon to the channel. But that's all I have to say right now, so Premy out. Man, if only you knew the amount of annoying kids I had to deal with today. If only you knew the amount of loud children. Oh my god. Alright, Sonic vs. Shadow Dawn. Time for Fury vs. Usyk.